I just wanted to play video games.
In July of 1848, a group of women led by Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott held the first women's rights convention in American history in Seneca Falls, New York. Over 2 days, roughly 300 people gathered to discuss the condition of women in society. The centerpiece of the convention was a document Stanton had written called the Declaration of Sentiments. The Declaration of Sentiments was so titled and written specifically to be a kind of re-envisioning of the Declaration of Independence that was penned by Jefferson. And I'm going to read the Declaration of Sentiments for you right now. This might be a bit on the dry side, but this is important because if you're wondering, like, how did we get here?
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away for the inaugural address.
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
Tap on the shoulder. You adjust the microphone as you told, man.
For their gracious aid.
I am so sorry to my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
We will face challenges.
There's so much potential
but we will get the job done.
for beauty and for devastation. In this one moment, it's just almost incomprehensible that they can exist right now. So,
and we are grateful.
So close.
And what do you say about white supremacy today?
Part of what I say is that white supremacy, first of all, isn't a white thing. It's part of this culture. It's part of how all of us have been taught to think about difference. Who's better, who's inferior, who's superior. I prefer white supremacy to racism precisely because it says that we're all being socialized to think along certain dualistic lines.
It's a soundtrack of one song, except I'm doing video games. So it's not exactly a fandom. I'm not a fan of video games. I actually had to learn a lot about video games in the process of making this. And also video games, like I would love to play video games, but I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross. So hence this is my response to that.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
So my character, you know, she's a powerful leader. She's a powerful leader. Yes. In a very woman-centered world, which I was very excited to kind of be that, because I feel like Star Wars is very like patriarchal, so it was kind of cool to have like this sort of woman-centered figure.
Not the time, helicopter!
Do you have a message for the girl from Stars?
Oh, we love you too.
We love you too! Where is our camera?
Love you.
We love you too!
You're amazing. And thank you for believing in us.
You're right. I'm only human.
Nunholy, you were reborn.
It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful, so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary. But somehow we're always doing it wrong.
You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged, so find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault.
There is always resistance to challenging the status quo. There's always resistance and backlash. So I think that maybe I can illustrate this with an example. So I don't debate. For years, these fucking assholes on the internet are like, debate me, like I'll pay you 10 grand if you debate me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, no. And the reason I don't is because it is a lot harder. When you're perpetuating the status quo, you can use 2-3 words to get your point across. When you're challenging the status quo, you have to unpack the status quo and then provide a vision for the future and the alternative vision, right?
I don't date men anymore. I don't see them as people.
I don't believe that they should even be allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Cut it if not
I mean,
before.
that's why we're in this situation, because they're voting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel there should be a program
They
where-
start off in jail.
Yes, like start off in jail. Start off with no rights. You actually get none, and then you can earn them, and a woman can say, you know what? Like, he should be allowed to maybe vote.
He's going to vote when I want him to vote.
That's how I feel.
So women are not saved by getting rid of gender. First of all, they are a gender, and they're the ones who came up as feminists with gendered frameworks for social analyses of violence. This is a ruse to augment state power and to justify radical censorship and silencing.
I think only men should be homeless. I don't think I don't think women should be allowed to be homeless.
This is where the conversation was going to.
Because I honestly think that men need to toughen up, and I think if men were forced to be homeless, they would learn how to be better men. Because that's what made men manly in the past, was having to build houses and stuff. So if we just made men be homeless for like a year, I think it would fix a lot of problems.
That would be
society.
so good, especially because we don't force men to do military anymore like they used to. They make them homeless for a year. Let's see how they fucking
make them just figure it out. But make them homeless in a country where they don't know the language, and then that way they really have to go through something, and then maybe they can like
be appreciative
and just stop being pussies.
Yeah, America's really full of pussies.
I can't actually remember the last time you were the one risking something. And by the way, the women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to X-Women.
I want to ask you both, because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you
Not
bracing
the gayest
yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
After all you have endured,
It is only natural to feel conflicted.
Conflicted? I am grateful you have not known evil as I have. But you have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not. You have not seen what I've seen. You have not seen what I have seen.
Well, this might be an important, let's say, element of that. So, the Seneca Falls Declaration of Sentiments, 1848, by Elizabeth Cady Stanton. 1. Declaration of Sentiments. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one portion of the family of man to assume among the people of the earth a position different from that which they have hitherto occupied, but one to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes that impel them to such a course. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights governments are instituted, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of those who suffer from it to refuse allegiance to it and to insist upon the institution of a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future society. Such has been the patient sufferance of the women under this government, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to demand the equal station to which they are entitled. The history of mankind is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations on the part of man toward woman, having in direct object to the establishment of an absolute tyranny over her. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has never permitted her to exercise her inalienable right to the elective franchise. He has compelled her to submit to laws in the formation of which she had no voice. He has withheld from her rights which are given to the most ignorant and degraded men, both natives and foreigners. Having deprived her of his first right of a citizen, the elective franchise, thereby leaving her without representation in the halls of legislation, he has oppressed her on all sides. He has made her, if married, in the eye of the law, civilly dead. He has taken from her all right and property, even to the wages she earns. He has made her morally an irresponsible being, as she can commit many crimes with impunity, provided they be done in the presence of her husband. In the covenant of marriage, she is compelled to promise obedience to her husband. He's becoming, to all intents and purposes, her master, the law giving him power to deprive her of her liberty and to administer chastisement. He has so framed the laws of divorce as to what shall be the proper causes, and in case of separation, to whom the guardianship of the children shall be given, as to be wholly regardless of the happiness of women, the law, in all cases, going upon a false supposition of the supremacy of men, and giving all power into his hands. After depriving her of all rights as a married woman, if single, and the owner of property, he has taxed her to support a government which recognizes her only when her property can be made profitable to it. He has monopolized nearly all of the profitable employments, and from those she is permitted to follow, she receives but a scanty remuneration. He closes against her all the avenues to wealth and distinction which he considers most honorable to himself. As a teacher of theology, medicine, or law, she is not known. He has denied her the facilities for obtaining a thorough education, all colleges being closed against her. He allows her in church as well as state, but a subordinate position, aiming apostolic authority for her exclusion from the ministry and, with some exceptions, from any public participation in the affairs of the church. He has created a false public sentiment by giving to the world a different code of morals for men and women, by which moral delinquencies which exclude women from society are not only tolerated, but deemed of little account in man. He has usurped the pejorative of Jehovah himself, claiming it as his right to assign for her a sphere of action, when that belongs to her conscience and to her God. He has endeavored, in every way that he could, to destroy her confidence in her own powers, to lessen her self-respect, and to make her willing to lead a dependent and abject life. Now, in view of this entire disenfranchisement of one half the people of this country, their social and religious degradation, in view of the unjust laws above mentioned, and because women do feel themselves aggrieved, oppressed, and fraudulently deprived of their most sacred rights, we insist that they have immediate admission to all the rights and privileges which belong to them as citizens of the United States. In entering upon the great work before us, we anticipate no small amount of misconception, misrepresentation, and ridicule. But we shall use every instrumentality within our power to effect our object. We shall employ agents, circulate tracts, petition the state and national legislatures, and endeavor to enlist the pulpit and the press in our behalf. We hope this convention will be followed by a series of conventions embracing every part of the country. Part 2. Resolutions. Whereas the great precept of nature is conceded to be that man shall pursue his own true and substantial happiness, Blackstone in his commentaries remarks that this law of nature being coeval with mankind and dictated by God himself is of course superior in obligation to any other. It is binding over all the globe, in all countries and at all times. No human laws are of any validity if contrary to this. And such of them as are valid derive all their force, and all their validity, and all their authority, mediately and immediately, from this original. Therefore, resolved that such laws as conflict in any way with the true and substantial happiness of woman are contrary to the great precept of nature and of no validity, for this is superior in obligation to any other. Resolved that all laws which prevent women from occupying such a station in society as her conscience shall dictate, or which place her in a position inferior to that of man, are contrary to the great precept of nature, and therefore of no force or authority. Resolved that woman is man's equal, was intended to be so by the Creator, and the highest good of the race demands that she should be recognized as such. Resolved that the women of this country ought to be enlightened in regard to the laws under which they live, that they may no longer publish their degradation by declaring themselves satisfied with their present position, nor their ignorance by asserting that they have all the rights they want. Resolved that inasmuch as man, while claiming for himself intellectual superiority, does accord to woman moral superiority, it is preeminently his duty to encourage her to speak and teach, as she has an opportunity in all religious assemblies. Resolve that the same amount of virtue, delicacy, and refinement of behavior that is required of woman in the social state should also be required of man, and the same transgressions should be visited with equal severity on both man and woman. Resolved that the objection of indelicacy and impropriety, which is so often brought against women when she addresses a public audience, comes with a very ill grace from those who encourage, by their attendance, her appearance on the stage, in the concert, or in the feats of the circus. Resolve that woman has too long rested satisfied in the circumscribed limits which corrupt customs and a perverted application of the scriptures have marked out for her, and that it is time she should move in the enlarged sphere which her great creator has assigned her. Resolve that it is the duty of the women of this country to secure to themselves their sacred right to be a part of the elective franchise. Resolve that the equality of human rights results necessarily from the fact of the identity of the race in capabilities and responsibilities. Resolve, therefore, that, being invested by the Creator with the same capabilities and the same consciousness of responsibility for their exercise, it is demonstrably the right and duty of woman equally with man to promote every righteous cause by every righteous means, and especially in regard to the great subjects of morals and religion. It is self-evidently her right to participate with her brother in teaching them, both in private and in public, by writing and by speaking, by any instrumentalities proper to be used, and in any assemblies proper to be held. And this being a self-evident truth growing out of the divinely implanted principles of human nature, any custom or authority adverse to it, whether modern or wearing the hoary sanction of antiquity, is to be regarded as a self-evident falsehood and at war with mankind. Resolved that the speedy success of our cause depends upon the zealous and untiring efforts of both men and women for the overthrow of the monopoly of the pulpit, and for the securing to women an equal participation with men in the various trades, professions, and commerce. So that was the Declaration of Sentiments. Essentially what it did is it modeled after the Declaration of Independence, but instead of the Declaration of Independence, which was basically talking specifically about King George of England, this one was talking about American men, specifically the Founding Fathers. While it was heavily criticized in its time, it has now been recognized as the official starting point of the American feminist movement. And you might have heard some of the things in there and didn't find them to be too controversial, but take into account that you are getting a biased perspective from Elizabeth Cady Stanton. These were extremely elite women of like high class, obviously well educated, and that in a way they wanted to enfranchise themselves specifically. They weren't necessarily thinking about poor women or minority women or things like this. And they were also Quakers. I guess Quakers were kind of a weird offshoot of Christianity that many Christians believe are a bastardization, a corruption. There's a lot of little cults like that in the States. I wanted to show you guys this because this is a pretty radical document for its time. I know it's a bit dry and might not be as entertaining as some other videos, but I still think it matters. So anyway, with that said, that has been the Seneca Falls Declaration of Sentiments by Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Long live Vivian.
I just wanted to play video games.